Hi, guys, and welcome to this new live session on Product Squad. I'm super excited today as I'll be talking with Lucie Buisson, who's the Chief Product Officer at Contentsquare, and we're going to be talking about their latest record $500 million US Series E round. I'm just super curious about what's been happening at Contentsquare in the past few months, in the past few years. So Lucie's going to tell us the backstory of everything that happened, and super happy to have you on the show today as well. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the YouTube chat window, and we'll pick them up as we go. Without further ado, let's welcome Lucie. Hi, Lucie. How's it going? I guess you're on mute.
Good point. Hello, Axel. But I'm good. I'm super happy to be with you today, and very excited to share the story.
Amazing. So, yeah, I guess first things first. Tell us a little bit about this Series E. What's been happening? I've seen some pictures on Instagram of people celebrating in front of the NASDAQ building. Tell us more. So, how did that happen? How long have you been working on this round? What's the insider story?
Yeah, sure. So perhaps we can start with why we decided to do this new round. I don't know if you remember, but we did a round last year, a year and 2 or 3 months ago. So the first thing is this money was not an absolutely need for us because we had the previous round. But what happened is COVID completely changed our market. I'm pretty sure it's news for nobody, but in one night, everybody went from buying in stores to buying online. And the online experience went from a super nice to have to an absolute must have. And we really saw that, and the transformation of the market, the transformation also of top of mind challenges for our clients. So market was heating up, and we were seeing that with a very different signal. We have a very strong vision. Every time we share our vision with the market, with client, with investor, they're like, how can we go faster? And we have an amazing team. And so, all planets were aligned, and we're like, okay, we just need to accelerate. We just need to make sure that we can create those happy digital experience faster than the plan. So this was really the rationale behind. And then we met SoftBank. And when I say we, it's John Cherky, our CEO and founder. And I don't know how much you know about SoftBank, but they are the fund behind Alibaba, Uber, WeWork, Slack, DoorDash, and many others, So they know what they are doing, but they don't put small tickets. So they were like, okay, if we come on board for a 500 million ticket, or we don't come on board. And we're like, okay, let's do it.
That's brilliant. So I guess the past few days must have been super exciting, right? So tell us a little bit about what's been happening. So I'm just curious about the atmosphere right now, because raising this kind of round is a lot of work, but it's also a great opportunity to celebrate and bring the teams together, right? So tell us a little bit about what's been happening.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go back a few months before, because what's very interesting about fundraising is so when you decide to go to raise money, you have many meetings with different people, and it's a very intense moment for us. It was end of February, and so we met a lot of different funds, and so John was driving as most of it, but with Patrick, with our CTO, we met all the funds we were discussing with to present the vision, explain how we work, explain the infrastructure, like how everything we did to make our product super scalable, to explain how we were ready to multiply by 10 the volume or 100 the volume we are collecting and everything. So this already is super exciting because you share your vision, you share your passion with people, and you see that they are clicking. You see that they are like, I really get it. It's exactly where you need to go. It's very interesting. So it's a lot of excitement. And then nothing happened for at least 2 months, because it's when legal start talking, they're like negotiating the deal. So, like us, product and R&D people, we are not part of those conversations. So for 2 months, you're like, what's happening? Every time you talk to John, you're like, John, what's happening? And he's like, no, I cannot say anything because he doesn't want, to create some kind of expectation.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, he's like, like I think it's going well. So, like you have those this weird period of time. And then at some point he calls you and he says, it's done. And so this was end of April or beginning of May. Nobody at this stage, almost nobody is aware in the company. But because it's such a big amount of money, basically SoftBank told us like, look, we're going to put this ticket and you have to triple the size of product and R&D in 3 years. And you have to double the size of sales. So first of all, I was super happy because I was like, okay, they get it that we need to have a bigger product and R&D teams than sales team.
You're like, yes, now I get to hire some more people.
Exactly. So you're like, okay. And also being with SoftBank, with those very tech products is also great because you create a community of CPO also. But I think we're going to talk about that a bit later. Anyway, so then we start working on the acceleration plan. And now you have to tell your direct report, because you have to start preparing them that the team is going to triple, during the next 2 years. So it's also a very interesting moment. And then we arrive in the week of the announcement. So like the announcement was Wednesday. We had an embargo until Wednesday, 8 a.m. in France. And Tuesday, we have the internal announcements. And, it's a very special moment because you really take the time to explain everything, to congratulate the team, but it's still COVID. So most of the people are alone at home, and create the excitement when you are alone at home is not that easy, So what they did is they went in New York, in the street of New York, and they recorded John in different places to give us clue about what was happening. So, and John has a passion for rhino, and because he said rhino has 2 horns and unicorn only have 1, and rhino are not a fairy tale. So since day one, because John always had this vision that he would be like a global leader. Like when we were 10 people in a super small apartment in Paris, he was saying that already. He was offering rhino to our client, to our investor, to say, one day I'm going to be a rhino. So they went to the Bronx, to the zoo, and they filmed John with a rhino. And then they put video of John when he was visiting in Japan for SoftBank, and everybody was crazy on the chat. People were like, what? We bought Japan? And we're like, no, we didn't buy Japan.
Super exciting. So how was, I suppose, it's really interesting that you mentioned that, it's COVID and you probably don't celebrate in the same way. I remember, I can't compare this in any way, but I was in a startup where we got announced that we raised $40 million. And back then it was like this huge news. And to some extent, I think the amount of money is not it's not what people gather around. It's really this validation that all the work we've been doing actually amounts to something. And the proof is that people believe in it, so they're willing to invest to scale the effort and everything. So what do you think, or what have you heard from the teams? What have they told you about, this news? How have they received it?
They were so happy. But you know, like first fundraising for us was 20 million. I remember very well. We all get a notification. I think it was from the Journal du Net. And because you always have a media that is breaking the embargo. This is rule number one when you want to announce a fundraising. And so people got the news in the subway and they arrive in the office. They're like, what's happening? And we were so small, you know, it was our first fundraising. And I remember John like shaking the champagne and putting champagne on everybody. And at that time, it was a small team, like it was, 80 people. And then Series B and C, it was kickoff time. So we announced it during the kickoff, you know, the second night of the kickoff. And this is crazy. Like the energy
everybody's in the same place, right?
Exactly. The energy you get from the team is crazy. And I was crying so much. I remember for me, those moments are so emotional because you're right. It's a validation of the work, but I've been here 7 years. Like the people I'm working with are my family, you know, we lived so many things together that like, it's not only about the project, it's the people you are sharing the project with. You see what I mean?
Yeah, and makes total sense.
Yeah, and then Series D was at the beginning of the confinement. And this was super hard because at that time, we didn't know how to celebrate on Zoom, you know, it was super new. So they sent us boxes with champagne so everyone could celebrate, but some boxes arrived way later, you know. But it was COVID and everybody was so relieved that we had that money, you know, during COVID, meaning like it meant no furlough. It meant that we were able to support our client, you know, like our client in the travel industry, we were like much more flexible with them because we had this money. So even if the announcement was not the best, it was such a great moment, you know, to send this signal to the team that it was amazing. And this year, I think it's a validation of everything we've done. But I think now for us, the main validation is really like our clients, you know, to see the number of clients we have. Like we work with 30% of the Fortune 500. So I think people get the validation. But I think what is special about this one is the opportunity it's opening for the future. You see what I mean? It means that it's not the end of the adventure. It's like almost the beginning. Because when you become big like this, you always have those stories about like, are we going to get acquired by Salesforce, Adobe? And this would be kind of the end of the story because then you're part of something way bigger. It's not your culture anymore. It's not your way of doing things. But this fundraising confirms that John doesn't want to be acquired, you know? And what we are
it's almost like now you are on track to become the new Salesforce or the new Adobe.
Yeah. And I think the amount here says that you're part of something big, you know? And exactly what you said, we could be the next Salesforce or the next Adobe, you know? And this for the team, it's a lot of excitement and a bit of stress also, you know. Like
so let's get to this part. I think this is the interesting part, right? Because raising a lot of money is exciting and it's great validation. Teams are excited, everybody's excited, lots of perspectives, but it also means at the end of the day, it's also a transaction, right? So people are giving you money because ultimately they want more money. They want more money out of it, right? So it's like, we'll give you 500 mil, but we're hoping to get more out of it. So this translation of investment towards outcomes and business goals is also really interesting. So what does that actually mean for Contentsquare? Can you tell us a little bit about the perspectives, the growth perspectives that you guys are thinking about?
Yeah, definitively. So it's 1,500 hiring during the next 3 years. So it's huge. It's I told you already, but it's triple the size of product and R&D, mainly in France and in Tel Aviv. We are also looking at perhaps opening a third center for product and R&D. But we want, like, our office culture is super important for us. Like it's part of our culture, you know, like we celebrate the fundraising also because we love celebration, and you know, the team spirit, the enthusiasm. We think it's happening more when you are all together in the office.
In the same place, yeah.
Exactly. So we really try to gather people. Of course, we have more and more people remotely. And when you have to hire that many people, you are super open to have like talent from everywhere. But for us, it's very important to strengthen the places where we have our people. You came to our Parisian office for the tripartite.
I'm still thinking about this office space. I was like,
it's amazing,
wow.
Right?
It's like, when am I going to have an office space like this? I mean, it's brilliant. There's this view of Montmartre, which is amazing. And I remember we did some shooting there's this loft and a rooftop.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing.
No, like we are very lucky, and we have a global deal now with WeWork, also thanks to SoftBank, kind of. And so we're gonna have those amazing places, very flexible, a bit everywhere, you know. So triple the size of product and R&D with a massive investment in artificial intelligence, because for us it's really like the big next move, you know, like.
Also, if you didn't say artificial intelligence in this interview, I mean, there would have been a problem.
Yeah, I would have been fired, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like what we do is to collect every single interaction between a user and a website. And it's trillion of events we are collecting every day. And nobody has time to slice and dice the data. And it's very like it's data scientist or that very advanced data analyst skills, you know. And our way of looking at the world is we want to democratize client knowledge, you know. So we want everybody in the team, in the product team, in the marketing team to have access to those information. So you need to make it digestible, and you need to feed your user with what matters the most. So I know everybody's talking about AI, but I think it's really because we are all trying to make our client life easier, you know, and to really democratize the access to the data. So product and R&D. The second big topic is Asia. It's done. We are like, we're going there. So we already have a quite big team there. We have, I think, 15 people working there.
You've got a team in Singapore, right?
Exactly, yeah.
I'll say hi to my mate, Matt Robinson, if he's listening to this. Hi, Matt.
Matt is doing an amazing job over there. And they really, like, the ramp up is really good. Like, they are hitting the number, overachieving the number. So someone was like, should we increase the target? We're like, let us be successful, okay? And we are thinking about China also. But you have to make the difference between China and Asia, which is not China, because China is so complicated. And then M&A, like ClickTail, like we've done like 4 acquisitions until now: Pricing Assistant, ClickTail, Adapt My Web, and Boost. So ClickTail was a super big one. They were as big as us. And Boost, Adapt My Web, and Pricing Assistant, they were more like emerging technologies. And we really saw like the benefits of it, you know, like you bring different perspectives, you bring different experiences, you bring like a super strong market knowledge. So M&A is definitely a muscle for us, as John says. When John says that, he also do muscle like this.
So you're expecting to you expect that Contentsquare will be acquiring other companies in the next few years? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, kind of. And then there are 2 other super important things for us that we launched last year. It's the incubator. I don't know if you heard about.
I've heard about. Yeah, I think I've heard about. Is it Atomic Labs?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's and the foundation. So it was super important last year, after the big fundraising we did, to start having more impact, and to start giving back, because we were at a stage where you can start having this kind of initiative. It was, and what is very interesting is that it was super important for John, but also super important for the team. So it was really an alignment in the team that it's like we are ready to do that, and it's super important for us to do that. So the Atomic Lab, it's an incubator. I think we have almost 10 startups now in the incubator.
Okay.
So
are these startups mostly based in the US, or how does that work?
In Paris. For now, all the startups we are incubating are in Paris. Okay. And the criteria to be part of the Contentsquare ecosystem is to be a company that is using a lot of data, because it's our skills, it's like what we know how to do. And then the business case is, okay, how Contentsquare data can help your business. So basically, we are giving our data to those companies so they can accelerate their business, because we really think that the data is the most valuable thing we have today, and for us, the idea is to give this most valuable thing. And also because when you are super small, you don't have a lot of data. So, it's like really a way to help them accelerate. And the foundation, which is also something super important, is around accessibility. And I told you, our vision, our mission is to create happy digital experience. So when you are browsing, instead of being always frustrated, for you to be always in a good mindset, super happy, etc. Finally to find the same emotional connection than the one you can have when you are in store, and you have a great conversation with the person in charge, and etc. But it's what is important is when you see today, to get an appointment for a vaccine, you need to go online. So now it's not a choice anymore. For many things, you must go online, which means that you need to build a digital world that is more inclusive and that is accessible.
Correct.
For older people, for disabled people, for colorblind people.
Any kind of vulnerable people, right?
Exactly. And I don't know if you know, but dyslexia is something that is happening to a lot of people, a global disability that is a huge issue for you on the web. It's between 20 and 30% of the people. So it's huge, So the foundation is here really is on a mission to help create a more accessible world. And to make the world the digital world more accessible and more inclusive. So those are the main areas. So hiring for acceleration, Asia, M&A, the incubator, and the foundation.
That's super interesting. So let's deep dive a little bit into maybe the product side of things, right? So we talked about this growth, which is also probably going to mean that you'll have to increase capacity and skills and headcount around sales, right? You said SoftBank told you've got to scale up this sales team, right?
Yeah.
And we all know what this means. More salespeople are going to sell more things, so it's going to have an important impact on product as well. So tell us a little bit about how you think the product organization is going to change. What are some of the challenges you're anticipating? And tell us a little bit about how you're going to tackle these challenges.
Yeah, sure. So I think to be able to scale, you need to remove friction. And you need to create an organization, flows that are more fluid, And last year, I was doing a conference with the product school, and it was about scale. And the question was, when do you know you have scale? And I was like, it's not happening. When you are a scale up, you are always scaling. Every 6 months, every year, you have to rethink everything. So this investment and 1,500 people are a huge number, but if you think about it, it's doubling the size of the team. It's what we've been doing for the last 7 years,
Yeah.
So
it's just that you're getting in a different tier now.
Exactly. It's like now, when you need to go today, we are like a bit more than 40 people in the product team, which is already huge. And we thought we are looking at being 80 or 100, So I think, so identifying where the frustration, the friction, and the lack of fluidity is, I think, is the first thing that is super important, and then you need to eliminate that, because if you double the size of your team without removing those friction, it's not, you don't double the size of the problem, you multiply by 10 the size of the problem, So I think it's a lot of, we're going to talk about Marty again, because when you are scaling your team like this, you need Marty even more, so Marty again. And when he says your team is your product, I think it's a very, very good synthesis of everything we're going to discuss. You need to act with your team as you would act with your product. So you need to analyze what's working, what's not working. You need to listen to the people, take their feedback to understand what are their issues, what creates value for them. You need to look at the data also of how the team is progressing and everything, So I think you like this analysis is super important. And then I think the balance you need to find is you need to give the first thing to scale, I think, is trust. You need to trust your team. You need to trust your people, because you cannot control,
it's this big question around empowerment, right?
Exactly.
Especially when you start having more than 50 people in your organization, you've got to there is no way, right? So unless you want to have 50 direct reports, that's not going to work anyway. So there's something about letting go and letting people do their best work.
Exactly.
And I think that requires a lot of maturity, right? You've got to accept that you can't be everywhere. You can't be in this, controlling environment, but you're here more to be a coach and a supporter. You're here to support, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I really agree with that. And when I was preparing for our conversation today, I give a lot of thoughts around that. And I think you also have to accept that you are more and more useless, as a chief product officer. And for me, that started we were 3 in the product team, super hands-on. I think my strength is to be that hands-on, to be able to go super deep into the topic. You have to go against your nature, because now my job is to inspire people to come and to stay, to guide them, to give them the right direction, to make sure we are all heading in the same direction, and to anticipate issue, to anticipate big issue. Because a team like this, it's like the Titanic. If you are too close to the iceberg, it's too late to turn,
It's too late, yeah, exactly.
You need to be like this, where are my issues?
I can picture you always sat at your desk and thinking, oh my God, what's happening? Where is this going? Always trying to anticipate what's going to happen. But there's a lot as well around culture, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about tripling this team from maybe a 40 headcount team to 100 and maybe more. So that also means, and this is also, I'm raising this because there is enough knowledge in the world today for people to agree that if there's one thing that doesn't scale as quickly as headcount, there's actually 2 things. It's processes and culture.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting if you give us maybe some insight around how you're planning to find a way to make the culture work at scale as you're scaling, right?
Yeah. And I really agree with you. I think those are the 2 topics, because if you want to give autonomy to your team, if you want them to be empowered, they need to have framework to work, and they need to have common beliefs, And so framework is the tools, the processes, everything you create for them to have a common way of working. And the culture is like, even if you haven't met everybody, you feel a connection, and you feel that you share the same work ethic, you share the same value, you are heading in the same direction. So culture is extremely important, and it's something we invested a lot into very early stage with Contentsquare. I think from day one, we had a very strong culture, but we didn't have words to explain that. Nobody was able to tell you what was the culture, It was super strong, but it was for us, it was something that was inside us. And so when we started hiring a lot of people, going from, 40 or 50 people to 100, 200, then it became a challenge, because when you onboard those people, first of all, you need to hire people. And I think this is something very interesting. You need to hire people that are going to be comfortable in your culture and are going to live your culture. But you need to avoid hiring people that are your clone,
Yeah.
And the articulation between
it's not easy.
Exactly. For me, it's one of the most important things, but not the easiest, And I know because you've done such a great job talking about diversity lately and how important it is. I think what you need to achieve is diversity, but with people that feel that they're going to belong with your culture. But to be able to do that, you need to know what is your culture. And so for that, we worked with a company called Fly the Nest, and they really helped us two things. They helped us create what they call their master plan, which is you put on a paperboard what is your vision, your strategy, the main problem you need to solve. So it's kind of an outcome-centric roadmap, but for the company. And they also have workshops to work on the culture. And it's the first time we put names on the culture. And I think this was a very important moment. And then I'm sure, this book, I'm always struggling to say his name, Ben Horowitz, about the culture.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think this book is really good. If you haven't read it, I really recommend to read it. And it's really talking about what makes a culture is the strong event you live all together. And I'm going to give you two examples. For us, ClickTale, when we bought ClickTale, it was a strong event of culture, because we were integrating a company as big as us, and John gave us a year to migrate all customers to the same platform. And every client, everybody you were talking about that with was like, it's not possible. 1 year migration doesn't exist. It's not possible. And we made it, And so the infamous "where there is a will, there is a way" that represents ambition at Contentsquare, and that is so important for John, became true, So now when we say, okay, we have 500 million.
Wow.
And we are going to triple
that's a lot of money.
Yeah. The team is like, okay, let's do it. Let's start to do it, because we said we are ambitious, but now we showed how we do ambition. We do it and how this migration was possible is thanks of a lot of enthusiasm to embrace the challenge. It was a lot of team spirit, also collaborating all together, a lot of empathy with our clients, So I think those funding moments are super important. Another one was COVID. The fact that nobody was furloughed, the executive team reduced their salary, but not the rest of the team. It also created a very strong trust that we are all here to create
We're
something
in it together.
big. Exactly. Together. Yep. And so I think the more I go into it, the more I think that the culture is really something you need to experience, and you need those big moments, those big adventures to really anchor the culture.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I think, and I've had a chance to meet some of the team, and I think I felt this when I met some of them. There was this. It's hard, like you say, it's hard to describe, but you can feel that the individuals come together to be something more, that it's almost like more than the team. There's
Exactly.
something more, and you can't always put a word on it, but it feels good anyway.
Yeah, it's really what I love about Contentsquare is like I think we have so much work, and we all believe in the vision that nobody is trying to do some politics. You don't have time for that. And anyway, the cake is growing so fast that your piece of the cake is going to grow also, and this creates really this connection between people, and they are really here for the team, for the project, more than for themselves. And I think it's something very strong. Yeah.
That's super interesting. Let me say, you're very lucky to be part of an organization where the culture is that positive. Anyway, from what I'm hearing and from what I'm seeing, let's now go a little bit deeper into the product organization, right?
Yeah.
So, like you said, you got to triple the size of the team. Tell us a little bit about the type of people maybe you're looking for. What are some of the projects you have in mind?
Yeah.
What are you going to do product-wise? Are you going to build maybe more lines of products, and that requires more people? Are you looking for different types of product people? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think to answer this question, I'm going to do a small parenthesis. But it's not a parenthesis. Actually, it's more like I think to be able to scale, you need to have a solid vision, a solid strategy, solid organization, and a solid methodology. So, and this is my framework, and it's not mine because it's like the framework like a lot of people are using, but. The vision, it's very funny because the vision, we have this vision for, at least 5 years, and we are on a mission to realize this vision. And the vision is when someone arrives on a website or an application or whatever digital assets, based on his first interaction, we are able to understand if he's here to buy a product as fast as possible, to compare prices, to find some inspiration. So we are able to detect his intent. And based on that, we are able to understand if he's happy or unhappy. And then send a signal to a third-party tool, like a personalization tool, a marketing automation tool, to create a personalization based on his intent and behavior. So exactly what a seller would do in a store. He would look at you, and if you are all sweaty and running, he will never tell you about the DNA of the brand. He would just help you buy something as fast as possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is the vision, and then you have to create the milestone, like the different buckets, that you need to reach this vision. And for me, this is the strategy, like identifying the bucket and then saying, okay, next year, the 2 problems we need to solve are those 2 problems. And then once you have this, you create your product organization and you create your product lines. So you say, okay, to be able to do that, I need to know if the performance of the website was good, which means that the experience was flawless for the user. So the speed of the website, if the website was buggy or not buggy. So, okay, you have a first product line around analyzing the technical performance. You need to understand if the UX of the website is good, the usability of the website, if the flow are seamless, if you're empowering your client when they arrive on the website to meet that goal. So this is your UX product line. And then you have the merchandising aspect, the content aspect, like are you able to engage your client, to inspire your client? So you create a new product line. And then in our vision, we need to have an extremely open ecosystem because the goal is to send signal. We don't want to do the personalization ourselves because we think we have the amazing personalization tool out there. And so we think we can fuel the personalization and enrich the customer profile. So
and you can't be everywhere, right?
Exactly.
You've got to,
Exactly. And you need to work where you think that there is a big issue to solve. I think today personalization is not working the way it should because it's only based on demographic. And me, at 3 different moments of the day, I don't have the same expectation. So if you are not able to capture this instant expectation, you cannot really help your customer.
You're not relevant.
Exactly. And so we have a product line around opening the platform. And for us, it means 2 things. It means like the APIs, the integration, flowing the data, but it also means flowing the knowledge and flowing the insight. So everything you have to share in the product, to share on Slack, to share on Jira, and etc. Create this ecosystem. And then we have like another product line which is around automation. So all those data we collect, all those information we have, we want to proactively feed our customer with it. So those are like the 5 big pillars. And today, all those product lines exist. But what we're going to do is to create new teams to tackle new problem, new topics inside all of these product lines.
Within these product lines. Okay.
Exactly. So it's not about adding one product manager here and one product manager there. It's about identifying new topics, new problem, new challenges that our client have, and create teams from scratch. And here, so it means a product manager, a product designer, a tech lead, and the team of developers. In general, what we do is we hire the product manager and as a designer, and the tech lead in advance, and they start working together, and then we staff
the product trio.
Yeah. Exactly. And then we staff the team. So we're going to look at a lot of product manager, product designer, tech lead, and developers. What's the specificity of Contentsquare is we have people that are working in what we call the tech team, so to collect the data. People that are working more on the data side of it. So once you collect the data, you put them in a database, and the database needs to be super optimized, super secure, and etc. And then we have the application team, which creates a visualization and makes the data accessible for our clients. So we are looking for this 3 kind of developer. And what I was saying? Yeah. And so this is for the product line and the new team we are going to create. But then exactly as you said, you need to have the processes, the tool to be able to do that. So we are also looking for a lot of what I call transversal role, because when you create those organizations where you want to give a lot of autonomy and empowerment to the team, you also need people that are doing the link, So you have those.
You need to find a way to federate, because autonomy also means that people are going in one direction at a time.
Exactly.
And you've got to make sure that everybody's going in the same direction, because people could just be, autonomy might mean I'm independent, so I can go in whatever direction I feel is the right one, right?
So you can have you need people that are working on the product strategy. Because for the team to be autonomous, you need to give them problem to solve and not feature to deliver. We talked about that already many
million times.
But for them to solve problem, you need to work on what are those bigger problems,
Yes.
And so once
the big rocks.
Exactly. Once the team is creating, of course, the team become autonomous in identifying the problem, and most of the time they are going to solve quite different problems than the problem you had in mind at first when you created the team, but it's a different story. But you also need with those kind of organization, you need to identify the topics that are not covered and that you need to start covering. So for me, it's product strategy and user research. So
because you want to do some exploration, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So product strategy and user research are also roles that are going to grow. We already have 1 people in each, and I think the goal is to have at least a team of 10 working around the strategy. Then you have product org, I would say, and they are here to help create the framework,
is this like a product ops kind of?
Yes, exactly. Sorry, I said
organization,
org, but I wanted to say ops. You're completely right.
Okay.
And for me, they are here to create some kind of consistency,
Yes.
In
and
how
some
we
form
work.
of operational excellence, right?
Exactly. So how we do discovery, how we document the discovery. So you keep the knowledge. How we communicate around our product. So you don't have a product manager every 5 minutes creating a Holland's meeting with the entire team, all those things like the product journey, the product principles, the communication, how you lock all the knowledge. This is super important. And then the last piece of it, I would say, is and sorry, I forgot something. How you're good. Like for me, one of the key mission of the product ops is also to help the product manager spend more time with their clients. Because everything we are describing around autonomy and etc. and empowerment, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, everything starts with knowledge, Like the trust starts from the knowledge. The good decision starts from the knowledge. The good discovery starts from the knowledge. So for me, the ops, they also have this mission of making sure the product manager have access to the client, have access to the context of the company. They understand how the company works, So they are kind of the little...
Almost like the guardian of the knowledge, almost, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So one example is right now we are creating community. So for each product manager, identifying 5 or 6 power users that love the products they are working on, that they can have on Slack, So you don't have to hire early adopters every time you need to start something, You don't have to ask customer success the permission to talk to the client because they are your community, And the last thing is around onboarding and enablement. Like if you are about to hire that many people, you need to make sure that your onboarding and enablement are super strong. And here we are in the process of deciding if we want to have one team globally that does the enablement for Contentsquare, or if each department should have its own. And I think we're going to go for an hybrid model where we get the support of a central team, but then each team is working on his own onboarding path and also growing path, because it's not only onboarding people at first, but it's help them grow, along the way.
Yeah, that's really super interesting. So you mentioned a few things that I find that kind of like triggered some thinking on my side, right? I think there's this question of trust, which is super interesting. And then you said everything starts with the knowledge. And I guess onboarding a lot of people and building an organization of this size is super important. And there's a lot of work involved in doing that in the right way. But there's also something about, in this knowledge component, for me, there's something about training, right? Like you have all of these product managers, the product people, the designers, the researchers, etc., in the organization. There's also something about helping them grow. And it's aside of the coaching that they might get from the leadership or the mentoring that they might get internally or externally. There's something about being on the top of their craft. Tell us a little bit about how you're helping these existing employees and what can the future employees, maybe the people who will be listening to this interview, how do you help your employees be at the best of their craft?
Yeah. No, but you're right. I think it's like creating the right knowledge and helping people grow in their role are like the two basic components. Like, it's a foundation of everything you do.
Yeah.
For us, the first step was the creation of the career path for our product manager. And I think what is super important in the career path is you define your expectation. Like in the end, it's a framework to say, being a product manager at Contentsquare means you need to do that. Those are the soft skills you need to have. This is the knowledge you need to have. This is as a discovery or techniques you need to master, So we did this and we call it the CS deal for communication, strategy, discovery, execution. A is around data, but I don't remember how we do an A, and leadership. So, and for each level of the product manager, you need to master different skills. I don't know if you saw Zorro. Like in one of the Zorros, they have those cycle. And you need to first fight in a Zorro to train. You need to first fight in the small cycle, bigger.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's really the principle of our growth path, that at first we give you a smaller problem with interaction with stakeholder, but a bit less senior stakeholder, and so you can grow like this. And so this is very important. And the career path is like the culture. If it's only written somewhere and you open it once a year, it doesn't have any.
It's useless. Yeah,
exactly. So then it's really about weekly, like first quarterly coaching we started, and then try to have it monthly, and then try to have it weekly, and every week talk about what you are doing well and what you can improve to improve the leadership around your product, to improve your discovery, to improve your communication, So today, and for me, this is super key. And so that's why we hired our head of product to be sure, and we limit the number of direct reports they have, so they can really spend a lot of time with their team and really like coaching them,
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess I think this question, I also asked it because I know you like to go and get external training for your team and get them exposed, which I think is a great thing, because that's not something you find in a lot of organizations, especially scale-ups that are focused on scaling aggressively, are sometimes kind of like 300% focused on delivery. But in our past conversations, I heard you talk a little bit about how you want your team to be exposed to the best. For example, I know you guys have had workshops or courses with Marty Kagan, for example. I mean, that's a great thing. There's a lot of organizations where you won't get this kind of stuff, right? So I think that's really important. And it's also like, let's face it, you want the people that you're going to recruit, you're going to hire, you want them to stay, because hiring somebody is going to cost a lot of money, right? Because you're investing a lot in these people. So one of the ways you make people stay is by offering them like great quality training and coaching, right? So I think that's a really important aspect of it.
I really agree. Yeah. And to be completely transparent, like exposing more people in the team to those external training, it's something that is in progress, but it's definitely for me one of the top, one of the most important things we need to do this year. Yeah, to help them grow and stay on top of everything,
Yeah, that's super interesting. Thank you. I guess we're coming towards a close. I just want to ask the people who are in line if they want to drop some questions for you, and I'll check at the same time if people have some questions. Please drop them in the YouTube chat, and I'm going to pick them up. Anything else you wanted to add around this new Series E, and how you're seeing the company change, and what are some of the things you're looking forward to?
Like it's very funny because I am really happy. This week gave me so much energy, and it's not about the money, it's about being together, like we between Tuesday and Wednesday, John, our CEO, had a lot of interview with Europe. We stayed with him in the office so he don't fall asleep, and and sharing this moment was amazing, and again, for me, it's more about sharing that with your team, sharing that with the people you've been working with for 7 years. So I'm looking forward continuing the journey, like it's a bit weird, but for me, it's like it's huge, it's massive, but it's not it's more continuation, like it's more fuel to continue where we started. I think, for me, like I talked a lot about ClickTail, but because for us, it was like, I think for us, it was a breaking point. Yeah, it was an after, before and an after. And now we are on this journey to the after. So I'm looking forward, continuing growing the team, having more time and energy to invest in the team. I feel like now the product is in good hands, and my job is more like to care and look after my team, I'm very happy about this new chapter of my experience. And I'm looking forward for us to realize our vision. I'm really looking forward to a world where the website, the app, is able to adapt to what you are trying to achieve, and really be able to help you reach your goal instead of retargeting you all the time for stuff you already bought. I think there is another way of.
It's so strange. Like, we're in 2021. Some crazy people are sending cars into space, and you're getting retargeted for stuff you already bought. It's just, it makes no sense. It's crazy.
It's crazy. I agree with you. I don't understand how it's possible, Anyway, so I'm looking forward as a vision. I'm looking forward continuing working with the amazing people we have. And I think in terms of big events, one that is coming for us is I'm touching wood, the IPO, which is not a goal, you don't do stuff to do the IPO, but we had the chance to go inside the NASDAQ, and I saw the picture of Amazon, eBay, when they were ringing the bell, and seems like
you're like, this is the next thing we're doing in this building.
It's kind of an extraordinary moment, also, So I hope we will leave that all together, and if we don't leave that, I'm sure we will have other extraordinary adventure.
Exactly. You'll do something else, right? And it'll be great.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. I also want to pay tribute to the inspiring story of your track record of starting as a customer success manager at Contentsquare about 7 to 8 years ago, and today you're the chief product officer of a 40+ headcount organization, which just raised the 500 million Series E. So I want to say congratulations for all the hard work you've done. I think this is a great example for people out there of how you can, start in an organization in a really key role, because customer success is client facing, and it's where you build the most customer knowledge, right?
Exactly.
How you turn that into a product advantage, and then you started as the first product manager, and there's so much more to be done in this organization. There's more than 800 of you now. Is that it? Yeah. So congratulations for this track record. It's really, really impressive. And good luck with everything that's coming up. Thank you for your trust. You've been one of the first people to go on this Product Squad journey with me back when I just only started the podcast. Today, Product Squad has 20,000 unique listeners. So,
which is amazing.
Which is really great, and it's partly thanks to you. So thanks a lot for your trust, and congrats again to the whole team. And really, really excited to see what you guys do in the next few years.
Thank you so much, Axel. It's always a pleasure to be with you. You have a special way of asking questions, making people comfortable. I think that's why you talk about my track record, but I think yours is amazing. So congrats, Axel, and thank you.
Thank you so much, and have a great day. And thanks for waking up at 6 a.m. in the morning to do this interview. Really, really appreciate it. And thanks to everybody who was on this interview, and see you next time on Product Squad. Bye, guys.
Bye.